morning or afternoon, everyone. I'm gonna get used to the afternoon time, I promise. Good afternoon, everyone. I almost said good morning again. Hello, everyone. Desert Mantis, John Kepper, Willie Bragg, and myself. All right, I see myself in the comments too. So good morning. Hi, John. Good to see you. Yes, thank you. We have a really awesome show today. We've got Ron Placone. He is down in the back room right now, doing my little morning thing first to get it started. Just letting y'all know what's been going on around here. Like I've been telling you guys this week, we've been dealing with snow. We got a little bit of a down thing, but we're getting more snow again. It's been nuts out here up in the mountains. I've been recently finding out, like during this whole weekend, there were about 200 cars worth down at the bottom of the mountain that was waiting to get back home, and they couldn't. There was like their kids were at home. Some of their pets were at home. And they were really trying to get back home. There was also a group of kids that went to a science like camp thing out here, and they ended up getting stuck out here for a couple of days, and it was really scary for the parents. They all finally got the Caltrans. Got everything together, got the buses out, and got them back to the parents yesterday, which was awesome to see. So things are doing all right. We still haven't gotten anything plowed around here. There's still tons of snow practically buried. I actually got a video I wanted to show you guys here. Check this out. This is kind of a little video of what it looks like out here. I'll show you guys right here. Here we go. Check this out.
Declaring a state of emergency due to the massive amount.
Yeah, we got a state of emergency yesterday, so there's our mountain.
Crews continue to work through the night in the San Bernardino Mountains to clear the roads, but many areas still remain buried in snow, leaving residents stranded. There's growing concern for sick and elderly.
You just can't get around. Some of the roads are clear. The road I live on is an ice slick, and it's just the unfortunate thing is, I'm sick. My daughter's sick. I have a prescription waiting for me, 2 prescriptions waiting for me at Rite Aid. Can't get there.
Crews are making good progress on the main roads and highways, but many mountain residents say the neighborhood streets remain a mess.
Just only kind of churned up some snow, not really cleared the roads. And I don't think it was from lack of trying. I think maybe it was just too much snow.
This was the scene in Highland today as numerous residents who dug their way out couldn't return home due to the conditions.
Same as all these other people. They've done the same thing, a lot of them. They've come down here just like we did. Quick trip for supplies and they can't get back up.
For dozens of kids, it was a day of celebration as they were reunited with their families after being stranded by the massive amount of snow.
Oh my gosh, I could not be happier. Could not be happier.
These students returning to Irvine from Camp Pally. They were supposed to come back Friday, but the monster storm left them stranded for days.
I think the snow was definitely fun at first, but it eventually got old.
That kid is definitely somebody that I can resonate with extremely. I love the snow, but it's starting to get old.
I'd rather be here.
The bus drivers headed to Camp Creston Running Springs had to put chains on the massive vehicles and were escorted by the CHP to ensure everyone returned home safely. The wild adventure, one many say they won't forget.
The time of my life. It was so much fun, and I'm just happy to be home.
I mean, it's absolutely adorable that they're like, how happy they were, and they were excited to be stuck out in the snow, but now they're happy to be back home, of course, because, they're getting homesick and stuff. My kid is definitely homesick. My kid has been stuck at her friend's house 2 towns over since Friday. I have not been able to get my own kid. So I talk to my kid at least 2 or 3 times a day to make sure that she's fine. I mean, I know the parents over there that she's staying the night with at her friend's house. It's just she decided to stay the night at her friend's house on the craziest night ever. So yeah, that's what's been going on with with out here. It's absolutely nuts out here. And we're about to get starting again. We got another snowstorm coming in, so everybody around here is just trying to catch up and get us all, ready. Like my husband this morning had to walk down to the store because we can't drive anywhere. So everywhere you have to go, you have to just walk it. And I guess he was saying that there was a bunch of people, like locals, the neighbors around the neighborhood, going around to each door asking if they want to pay for their driveways to get shoveled off. So it looks like some of the local community is definitely helping out around here. But most of our little side streets are just absolutely crazy right now. It is nuts. Good morning, Amber, Monza. Too bad you guys won't be able to retain some of the water and get out of the drought that California has been in for the last 10 years. Yeah. They're saying that it's getting, we're getting a little bit of a dent, but yeah, you're right. It's very hard for us to hold on to this water, especially with the amount of drought that we have. and then the fires too. So it's hard to retain that water. You're absolutely right. But they're saying that it is making a little bit of a dent. So hopefully, yeah, you're working on baby washcloths. Aw. This Chicago municipal election is wild. Yeah, I noticed even Lori Lightfoot was trending on Twitter yesterday, which was insane. I was completely in shock. I was like, oh, look, Chicago Quarter better be racking that in right now. So yeah, I know I probably will be talking about it tomorrow. That way we can get something in on it, but I'll probably be stealing it from like Chicago Corner, so that way I can put your guys' show on here and talk about how you guys, because I trust your guys' opinions more than I trust, mainstream media news. So yeah, you guys are talking about it for sure. I saw you were crocheting, Brandy. Yeah, she is. She's sewing clothes and stuff for her new grandbaby. She's got a bunch of material, and that's what she's doing right now. She's getting some stuff ready for her new grandbaby coming in. You saw the eagle cam the other day, and one of the eagles came back with a smaller bird for lunch. Yeah, you saw that? I was watching it the other day too, and because when we put it on the show, you only see Mama, and and Warren was like, "Oh, Daddy went and got milk and never came back." But then I watched it like the next day, and it was really cute because Mama looked like she was just worn out, and Dad came in. The dad bald eagle came in and took her spot for her, and then she went out and left. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're switching on the eggs right now. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, they're back and forth and on the eggs. I kind of like that. So that was really neat. That's cool that you're watching it too. Tune in tonight. Perfect. Then I'm just gonna watch you guys tonight and steal some stuff. So I'll be taking notes tonight when you guys are on. Yeah, right. Uncle Lori must go. Easy project. Yeah, it is. I love sewing. I miss sewing. Definitely one of my favorite things I used to do was sew. Like when I was in my artsy times, was sewing and all that crochet, painting, all that fun stuff. It's just you become a hoarder because you start like hoarding things. You're like, see a piece of material that's like this big, you're like, oh my god, I could totally use that for something. And then you just stick it in your pile and you never use it again. Or what did I used to do? I loved painting. Painting was my thing, but I couldn't afford all the canvases all the time because my painting was just random stuff. So I would get cardboard, so like cereal boxes, frozen food boxes, things like that. I would cut out, the rectangle or the square out of it, like all four sides, and then those would be my canvases. But man, after a while, I had piles of cardboard. It was so bad. I look like a cardboard hoarder. So good morning, Rick. Good to see you. Okay, first washcloth, just a simple stitch. Very nice. Very nice. That's awesome. So yeah, that's what's been going on around here. It's still nuts. Like I said, it's still wild. Yeah, it's the weather out here is just crazy. I figured we would at least get some kind of plow coming by to help us out, but no, this whole mountain is crazy. And I guess like my husband was supposed to be walking just to the liquor store today, but I guess the liquor store is completely out of stuff. There's like nothing left, so he had to walk to the next town over to get some supplies and stuff. But thankfully, I guess there was a couple other guys in the neighborhood that were getting ready to walk down to the next town over as well to get some supplies. So he didn't get to walk by himself this morning. He had a couple of friends. I don't know if you guys ever watched my show before and I'm sitting outside and you ever hear sounds like somebody's chopping down a tree. We've got a little tree kid here where he chops wood and he sells wood. That's his job. And that's the kid that was walking with my husband this morning. So yeah, it's nuts right now. You can get canvases at the dollar store. Oh, that figures. Of course you can now. Your boss donated a bunch of materials, so you have a lot. This kiddo won't need much. That's so cool that you're able to do that for your family. I love that. I absolutely adore that. I think that's so neat. All right. What else do I got for us? So today, like I said, hi, Holly. Thanks for stopping by and popping in. So today I've got Ron Placone. We'll probably talk about all of his stuff first, and then we'll talk about, like my news stuff later after because he can't stay for very long. I think he said just an hour. But we've got we'll be talking about the ban facial recognition at live events website, which is really interesting. There's like a lot of what do you call them, like museums and like places for concerts and stuff now have facial recognition. So we'll be talking about that, and some of the I got a video for about one of the examples of what can go wrong during facial recognition, especially with people of color and minority groups. And then next, we have a video that Ron Placone actually did himself. He live streamed about, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. A lady named Gigi Sohn is getting the FCC confirmation hearing. I guess it's been taking up to 2 years for them to get somebody into the FCC since the Jeep High hasn't been in there. I had no idea about this. So this is going to be really interesting to hear it from Ron himself and be able to see little bits and pieces of the actual hearing. From what I watched the hearing about twice now. It's really interesting is like you could tell that she is kind of like, you know, a little bit of like that left-leaning status quo, like Dem person, but she's got some really good progressive ideas, you know, like she's very defund the police, and you're going to see how a couple people in the Congress are like, we're not defund the police, but she's getting a confirmation hearing. So, and then the last but not least, we'll be talking for battleofthenet.com, which is a website that Ron has been working on really hard for the last few weeks or even longer. I know that I've talked with him personally about it, about this group and what it's going to be about, and what is net neutrality, fighting for internet freedoms. And then after he goes, what did I get for us today? There's this video that is going viral on Twitter. It went really viral on Twitter yesterday about the Knoxville police. They mistreated this woman. I can't show too much of it. It's not graphic or anything. It's just the treatment of the woman really, really, really upset me yesterday. So I don't want to watch too much of it. Just kind of show how the cops are treating the woman. She ended up passing away. And the family is now fighting back. And then last but not least, Israel and Palestinians are in a really, really big battle right now. And I wanted to kind of show how the mainstream media is showing their version of it. Like we get to see Israel, you know, an Israeli being shot by a Palestinian, and Palestinians are being bad guys. But then you go on to Twitter and you find all these Twitter live videos of what the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians out there. We'll watch the video to see kind of, you know, what's actually happening and what the mainstream media lets us know. So thank you, Holly, for coming. Gigi's great. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Hi, Lula. Good to see you. I hope everything is going great down there in South Africa. I don't know if it's morning or afternoon or not, but good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, Lula. I truly appreciate you. Okay, so now that is all done, I am going to bring in the man himself to talk about all this amazing stuff. So from Get Your News On with Ron, and he also does MMT, I think it's MMT Tuesdays or Mondays with Jeff Epstein, who works here at KRTD as well. So everybody, welcome the one and only Ron Placone.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you.
Let me fix it. Wait, there we go.
I can be small if you want. I don't mind. I'm not, you know.
I'm still like, these buttons on StreamYard. I'm like, what's this one? And then I mess it up.
Yeah,
I'm like,
they're fun. StreamYard's fun. Yeah, StreamYard is definitely fun.
It's a blast. And they add new music in there now too. I'm just like, oh, you guys are awesome.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there like a theme here? And is that why you keep saying good morning to everybody?
Yes. So I used to start at 10 a.m. when I started the show. I just started at 1 p.m. about last week. So I'm trying to not say good morning.
Oh, so it's just habitual.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe there was like a theme going on. Like maybe there was like a.
It was for a little bit. I started this show back in October, and I started at like 10 or 11 a.m. But then East Coast, it's already afternoon. So they would always in the comment section like, Jimmy, it's afternoon. I'm like, oh, okay, but it's still morning for me, you know?
Oh,
so
okay.
Now I'm at 1 o'clock and I'm like, good morning. I'm like, wait, it's not even morning for me anymore.
That's funny. Yeah, I wasn't sure if maybe there was like a theme, or maybe it's like, you know, someone in the chat pointed out, well, it's always morning somewhere. Like, yeah, totally. So I didn't know if maybe there was some kind of a theme where it was like morning somewhere, and that's where you were referencing. I was just curious. I don't know.
I like that. Thank you, Ed. Yes, it's always morning somewhere. Just like it's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed. He's just got my back. Ed's just got my back. Ed Heller is actually a guy from Chicago Corner who works with Hardlands Media with Kit Cabello and all of them.
So it's even later there. It's like almost happy hour out in Chicago. It's like 4 something.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, for Ed Heller, it's pizza time. It's always pizza time for Ed. He loves him some pizza.
Ed, I feel like we'd get along. I'm with you there. It's always time for pizza for me too. I gotta. I mean, I wish I can't eat it as much as I'd like to because that wouldn't be healthy for me. But I do occasionally have to indulge. You know, like I have on my world clock, like I have. It's so random. So I have like some colleagues in Italy. So like I always like my world clock is like I have LA and then I have Napoli and Florence, which is kind of pointless because they're in the same time zone. But for some reason I have both of them. And then I have London and then I have Bangkok, which by the way, it's always morning somewhere. It is morning in Bangkok. It is 4:18 a.m. in Bangkok right now. And then I also have Berlin. So anyway, you know, to kind of nerd out about time zones.
No, yeah, you hear that, Ed? All right. So every day when I get on my show now, I'm going to say good morning to Bangkok only.
That would be fun. If your opener is Good Morning Bangkok, that would be, I mean, that's funny. Like, and feel free to run with that. Feel free.
I'm doing it.
And
I'm totally doing it.
If you want to be like, thanks, Rob. I mean, you can mention like, oh, Rob Placone helped birth this with me, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
Absolutely will. Absolutely will. Of course. I love it. So funny. Thank you for that. All right. So you want to get started?
Sure.
All right. Let's go. Okay. So up first, I have, where is it? The ban facial recognition at live events. So it says in here, the music industry is reeling at news that the owner of the iconic New York City venue, Madison Square Garden, is using facial recognition to identify, harass, and ban people from his venues. This invasive biometric surveillance isn't safe, especially for Black and brown people who have been falsely arrested or ejected from public places due to the tech's baked-in discrimination. In recent years, a coalition of musicians, fans, and human rights groups successfully got more than 40 of the world's largest music festivals, including Bonnaroo and Coachella, to say that they won't use facial recognition at events. But now this tech is starting to spread, not only as a surveillance tool, but also as a form of paperless ticketing and payment. Artists, venues, and fans, you have a choice when it comes to the technology that's present at live events and then asking for a pledge. All right, so what is this about?
So first of all, the story that they're referencing, just to give people a little more reference, because it happened a little bit ago where they talk about the thing that happened at Madison Square Garden. So it was Madison Square Garden's one of their other venues. I think it was actually Radio City Music Hall. But what happened was there was a mother and daughter who were going to this like holiday concert. This was like in December. So it's like a family event, a holiday concert. And they get turned away because the mother set off this facial recognition software. And this mother is, you know, like, she's like, what the heck? Why? And they're like, I don't know. You can't come in, though. And so they banish this mother and daughter from attending this holiday concert. The reason they banished the mother is because the mom works at a law firm that was currently involved in a lawsuit involving Madison Square Garden. And she personally, just for the record, also, she had nothing to do with this lawsuit. She just worked at the law firm. Like, she just had a job there. I'm not sure what specifically her job was, but it's like she had nothing to do with this case even. She was just someone who worked at a law firm that was in a lawsuit involving Madison Square Garden. So they didn't let her go to this concert, which is freaking ridiculous and like a total just bullying thing to do. And shortly after this, a bunch of cops started filming people coming out of a Drake concert. And this was shortly after this happened. And we all know, you know, police have misused facial recognition software constantly. I mean, they use it to solicit nudes. They use it to like find dirt on an ex. I mean, all that has happened in different cities. You know what they've never done, though? They've never caught a bad guy with the help of facial recognition software. That's never happened because this software is very faulty. They have mismatches all the time, and it's totally invasive and not necessary. So, you know, people are kind of, this is a campaign to stop this from going on. at live events. I signed it as the artist pledge because there is something there, particularly for artists. So I signed that. And but anyone, it is for everyone. If you're a fan, if you're a venue, if you're an artist, and we can all be fans or whatever. If you go to any concerts, or even if you don't, you just support the cause. So please do sign this petition to ban facial recognition at these events. It serves no positive purpose. It is only for overreaching surveillance. This technology has not made anyone more safe. It has made a lot of people less safe. So please support this campaign. And you can go to banfacialrecognition.com. And I know we got the link right there. So.
Yep, definitely put up the link. All right, so to help you guys understand, I just found the little story that you're talking about. So I have 2 stories to show about facial recognition and to show what it does. So here is the woman that you were just talking about, where she was banned from the venue because of her job.
With before I told them, and they told me that I was not allowed to be there.
Conlon was denied entry while the rest of her party, including her daughter, were allowed to attend the show. The firm that Conlon addressed is a law firm called Davis, Saperstein, and Salomon, and they're involved in personal injury litigation against a restaurant venue owned by Madison Square Garden Entertainment. And according to a spokesman, her presence on their property was a violation of their policy, saying, quote, MSG instituted a straightforward policy that precludes attorneys pursuing active litigation against the company from attending events at our venues until that litigation has been resolved. Well, we understand.
So because she works for a place that has an active litigation against this business, she is not allowed to go there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just some and they go, I mean, again, this happened back in December, so I don't remember all the fine details, but they're saying here it was a personal injury thing. And so, yeah, this law firm was just involved with this lawsuit. She personally had no involvement with that particular lawsuit. She just worked at the firm. And they said that was some violation and banned her from attending a concert, which is absolutely absurd. It's the most ridiculous thing. And I know some people they might say things like, well, it's a concert. It's not really. It's yeah, well, what if they started doing stuff like this at a doctor's office? What if they started doing stuff like this? I mean, it's they could use this stuff for various things and it would get more nefarious by the case. So yeah, it's a pretty disturbing thing and just such an unnecessary power flex on their part. And so we're trying to nip it in the bud and just stop this.
Good.
This policy is disappointing to some. We can not ignore the fact that litigation creates an inherently adverse environment.
Here, I want to actually put up the other one because I like the other one a little bit better. So this was a different story where a girl was not allowed to come into a skating rink because she was misidentified by facial recognition.
It's not just that the young lady was not involved. Her family says she was not here. That brawl happened on a school night, and they say she was at home with them. They say this facial recognition technology, they did not even know that the business was using it. And tonight they're saying it's inaccurate.
To me, it's basically racial profiling. You're just saying every young black, brown girl with glasses fits the profile. And that's not right.
Julia Robinson and her husband, Derek, are considering legal action against the Livonia skating rink after their 14-year-old daughter, Lamaya, was misidentified by the business's facial recognition technology.
I was like, that is not me. Who is that?
Lamaya's mom dropped her off at Riverside Arena last Saturday between 8 and 9 p.m. to hang out with friends. But staffers barred her entry, saying she was banned from the skating rink. They scanned her face and said Lamaya was involved in a brawl at Riverside back in March. But there was one problem.
I was so confused because I've never been there.
The Robinsons' beef with Riverside comes as facial recognition technology undergoes more scrutiny. Robert Williams, one of the first in the country to be misidentified and wrongfully arrested over the technology, testified on Capitol Hill Tuesday.
I just don't think it's right that my picture was used in some type of lineup, and I've never been in trouble.
Tawana Petty heads up Data for Black Lives, one of 35 organizations signing on to a campaign calling for retailers to not use facial recognition technology on customers or workers in their stores. According to campaign organizers, Lowe's and Macy's are among those using the technology. Walmart, Kroger, Home Depot, and Target are among those that are not.
Face recognition does not accurately recognize darker skin tones. So I don't want to go to Walmart and be tackled by an officer or security guard because they misidentified me for something I didn't do.
The Robinsons say they're thankful the situation did not lead to an unnecessary interaction with police. Riverside made Lamaya leave the building after misidentifying her, putting her safety, the Robinsons say, at risk.
Y'all to put my daughter out of the establishment by herself. You never know what could have happened. Like I said, it just happened to be a blessing that, she was calling in frustration to talk to her cousin. But at the same time, he pretty much, I guess I'm not that far. Let me go up here and see what's wrong with her.
All right, we have a statement from the skating rink, which reads in part, one of our managers asked Miss Robinson, Lamaya's mom, to call back sometime during the week. He explained to her this is our usual process, as sometimes the line is quite long and it's hard to look into things when the system is running. The software had her daughter at a 97% match. This is what we looked at, not the thumbnail photos Miss Robinson took a picture of. If there was a mistake, we apologize for that.
But see, that's the
What a
problem.
terrible apology.
Right. And that's the problem with facial recognition things is that that's all you're going to get from them is an apology, is just like, oh, well, we hurt you. I'm sorry. While your freedoms are completely being taken away from you for no reason.
Yeah. If we did something wrong, which, by the way, we clearly did, we're sorry, we think. I mean, yeah. And by the way, like, facial recognition software has the mismatches with black and brown people. Like it has it mismatches constantly with everything, but with black and brown people, like it has mismatches up to like 96% of the time. Yep. So it's completely bogus, it leads to stuff like this. I mean, there was a case where somebody actually got deported to a country they've never even been to because of a mismatch on facial recognition software. So it's like there's some systemic racism going on in here, and it's just a completely unnecessary thing. It serves no positive purpose. It's just like an Orwellian overreach. And so, I'm in favor of banning it. I call for a ban on facial recognition software because I just think that there's no any case you could make for it. There's no data that supports it. Like, well, it's a tool that can help catch the bad guys. That's never happened. That's literally never happened because it is faulty software. The other thing that people don't harp on enough, it's also very vulnerable to hacking because it's like such faulty software. It can be hacked really easily. There have been instances where stuff's been hacked at like a border and things like that. So it's like they're getting this sensitive data and it's falling into the wrong hands. So it's a complete, there's no reason we should have, law enforcement in particular should have this technology. This is like the equivalent of handing, like handing monkeys a blowtorch, really, like just letting entities like law enforcement, border, whatever else, any entity, it doesn't matter, live event venues, any entity using this technology that just serves no positive purpose.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. I completely agree. What was I forgot. That's all right. I'm a pothead. I forget.
I feel your pain. I mean, I share your problem.
I'm like, I have such a great idea in my head. And then as soon as I'm like ready to talk, it goes blank. No, yeah, I completely agree. You guys check out that website. I put that in there, ban facial recognition. That's what I was going to say. So I noticed even just like, taking away like sidetrack of even just facial recognition itself, just technology itself, I noticed that it doesn't at least help people of color. I remember watching a video of people who were in I think it was like a public bathroom, and it's those sinks that if you put your hand underneath it, the sink will turn on. But it was a brown person that put their hand under the sink and the water never turned on.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like this technology is made to like benefit white people and screw over people of color. Even just a sink
How could you F
censor.
that up though? Like, why wouldn't it? I mean, shouldn't it just be like I mean, I always thought. I mean, I guess I'm not an expert in this, like the motion sensor thing, but I always thought it was the motion. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, isn't it your motion?
Yep.
So why would it matter what color your skin is? That's I don't
I
know
know.
how they managed to F that up. That's
I know.
like that's an impressive level of incompetence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. It's human incompetence. We don't, like we make things half-assed anyway. So, I mean, look at our justice system when it comes to the death penalty. How many people get wrongly accused and wrongly put to death? When I think of like the facial recognition and people being, deemed as a bad person when they didn't even do anything, like I look at it as the same as like all that stuff. It's just, humans tend to like to bring down people of color and minority groups while they pretend like it's benefiting us because it's for white people. It sucks, but yeah. So there's let me bring up this website again for everyone. Banning facial recognition. Let me look for it.
Yeah, it's banfacialrecognition.com. I mean, you can just go there and then that'll take you to like the venue specific, like ban it at live events. And, some venues have committed to doing this. Like there have been music festivals that have committed. There have been like other, venues that have committed to doing this. So this campaign is getting some traction because people are realizing like, hey, this isn't necessary. Like, this isn't good. This isn't fair to our fans. This isn't fair to the people who are coming to these events. So, people are getting on board and they're agreeing that we shouldn't have this.
Yeah, it says right here, in recent years, Fight for the Future and prominent musicians like Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine led campaigns that got them more than 40 of the world's largest music festivals to say they won't use facial recognition at their events. Ticketmaster also cut ties with a facial recognition startup after the backlash.
Yeah, and Ticketmaster is still a horrible company on so many levels, but they actually did a good thing in this one, for instance. So we'll take it.
Well, good. Oh, good. Well, I know they've been dealing with a lot of stuff because of Taylor Swift has really been giving them the loop. So
yeah, Taylor, the Swifties were not having it, and they had to tweak a few things. I mean, their fees are still like obscene, but I guess that like market thing they were doing, they might have scaled that back a little bit. Yeah. I mean, they need to be broken up, but that's a whole separate issue. And, in the meantime, if they can at least, not do facial recognition, okay, we'll take the victories where we can get them. But yeah, they need to be broken up.
They do. Okay, so next we have is Gigi Son. She is now getting her confirmation to be the FCC person. She had her hearing about 2 weeks ago. Talk about that a little bit before we get into the video of it.
Sure. So Gigi Son was Biden's appointee to the FCC. She is a pro net neutrality appointee, which net neutrality, of course, is the policy that basically keeps the internet free and open. It allows it to run like flowing water. Without net neutrality, the internet could basically turn into cable television 2.0. Thank you, SF. Thank you so much for doing that. So we lost net neutrality at the federal level when Ajit Pai was appointed. They rolled back net neutrality. And, prior to that, we'd had net neutrality since we've had the internet. We've never known a post-net neutrality internet. We got it official as a law in 2015. Then they rolled it back in 2017. But we've always had net neutrality. We've still not seen the effects of a post-net neutrality internet because a bunch of states rallied and got net neutrality laws passed at the state level, California being one of those states. So we're trying to get it back at a federal level. Biden promised a pro-net neutrality FCC appointee because the Bernie Biden task force made him do that. I don't think Biden himself is necessarily pro-net neutrality. He started his campaign with a bunch of Comcast executives, so I'd imagine net neutrality isn't a high priority for him. But nonetheless, they made him promise that. Cool. And he appointed Gigi Son, pro-net neutrality appointee. Great. They have been dragging their feet for 2 years and counting on confirming her appointment. And it's been for a number of reasons. One reason, the biggest reason being there's this huge right-wing smear campaign against her, looking for all these ridiculous, like, BS scapegoat reasons why she shouldn't be appointed. And they're really grasping for straws. Like all of the things that they come up with make no sense whatsoever. She actually has support from some people on the right because they realize that even though they don't agree with all of her personal politics, she'd be a good FCC commissioner, and they realize the importance of a free and open internet, which is like the adult way to view the situation. I mean, my personal politics are to the left of her. You know what I mean? Like I don't agree with her on every single thing. Like there's some issues where I am to her left by a lot. But in this case, it's irrelevant because like she's an FCC commissioner and she's going to vote on digital rights related things and rule on digital rights related things. And she's very brilliant in that space. She's been doing that type of work for over 30 years. And I know she's going to rule the way I want her to rule on issues like net neutrality and stuff like that. So on like other issues that aren't applicable here, like who cares, So yeah, I mean, she's beyond qualified. And they still have not appointed her. She had her third hearing. Now, just to give people a point of reference, if you're not like, familiar with FCC stuff, which most people aren't. I mean, why would you be unless you're like a digital rights geek like me? But, these appointments usually take a couple weeks. It is just such a like, boom. I mean, Trump appointed grossly unqualified people. Ajit Pai, just a cable lobbyist with no qualifications whatsoever. Nathan Symington, no qualifications at all whatsoever, and just a right wing, like puppet basically. They got a point. They breezed weeks. They were there. Gigi Sohn, more than qualified. It's been 2 years and counting because of a big right wing smear campaign, because of a bunch of conflicts of interest in big tech with Republicans and Democrats. It's a bipartisan holdout. And let's be honest, because of Biden's indifference. He could use his bully pulpit as president to really push for this. He hasn't, because I think he doesn't really care. So it's been very frustrating. So she finally had her third hearing. It was a circus. It was, I streamed the whole thing just to give people like an anecdote of this is how low the bar is for our politics. I mean, it was just political theater grandstanding by clowns like Ted Cruz and J.D. Vance. And I mean, it was just the most substanceless thing I've ever sat through. If I was Gigi Sohn, I would have walked out. So she is a more patient person than I could ever be. I would have walked out of there. She didn't. So credit to her where it's due. If you want to check out my video, I would not be offended. Somebody timestamped my summary of it. And I would not be offended if people just skip to that because, yeah, it is painful to watch. I mean, usually when somebody comments on your video, this was painful to watch. That hurts. Like you feel like but in this case, I agree. Like, I'm like, yeah, it was freaking painful, wasn't it? And, but yeah, so it's just ridiculous. And they still haven't appointed her. I mean, they still, like Chuck Schumer is another one with tons of conflicts of interest with big tech. So he's not moving the ball here. And, again, Joe Biden's indifferent. So it's been nuts. Net neutrality goes against the Melty Joe administration's desire for narrative control. Well, absolutely. And more than that, I mean, net neutrality really goes against like what the big cable companies want. And they have, both parties in their pocket. I mean, Joe Biden's anti-net neutrality. Donald Trump was anti-net neutrality. Even when we got it cemented on the books, I mean, Todd Wheeler was a big cable lobbyist. He didn't really want to do it. But the people were so freaking loud. This was in 2015. The people were so loud, they crashed the FCC's website demanding that this rule be put on the books that, they had to give us a win there. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're going to watch a little bit of it so that way we can see how hard this was to watch. I got a couple of timestamps in here that I made. They're only a couple minutes long for each of them. So I believe this is one of the first kind of people that asked her questions that I thought was absolutely insane.
For 5 minutes. Ms. Sohn, did you have something you want to respond to?
Well, it might take up a full 5 minutes. I would like an opportunity to respond to Senator Fisher.
I asked no questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. All right. Ms. Sohn, opponents to your nomination continue to classify your support of net neutrality as, quote, extreme, end quote. Ms. Sohn, do a majority of Republican and Democratic voters support net neutrality?
By overwhelming margins.
So a majority of Americans, Democratic voters, Republican voters, independents, believe net neutrality is needed. Now, to me, that's the opposite of extreme. we should ensure internet providers are common carriers and prohibited from prioritizing or discriminating lawful content on their networks. Ms. Stone, you have a strong record of defending free speech and viewpoints from across the aisle. At the FCC and as a public interest advocate for decades, you have continuously fought for the rights of both conservative and liberal voices. Yes or no, do you commit to upholding and promoting the free speech rights of all Americans?
Absolutely.
Can you reiterate for this committee some of the endorsements you've received from organizations across the spectrum?
Sure. Organizations include Newsmax, the president of OAN. These are two of the most conservative cable networks on the planet. And I've received some blowback on the left from that. Parents Television Council, which is a very conservative organization that fights to keep obscenity and indecency off broadcasting. I have support from Preston Patton, as we talked before, who was a former Fox News lobbyist, Chad Roop, Hilda Gay Legg, Daniel Linville of West Virginia, who is as conservative as you can get. He's a West Virginia legislator.
So I'm going to interject. I didn't realize.
So that's the part I wanted to show, because you even brought that up yourself a little bit ago too, of all these really conservative, right-leaning organizations that actually are promoting her and saying that they want her to be a part of this, knowing full well that she's, as you say, like, you know, a left-leaning kind of progressive-ish person, which I think is really
I mean,
cool.
she's definitely to the left of that. I mean, she's way to the left of OAN and Newsmax. But here's the thing, like, what do those companies have in common other than just being right-wing? Well, they're also very internet-based, aren't they? So, you know, what's a right-wing organization that's really much against net neutrality? Fox News. Why? Because they're a big cable company. What's a right-wing media organization that's for net neutrality? Newsmax, OAN. Why? Because even though their politics are way to the right of mine, they still realize that a free and open internet is a good thing. That's something we all agree on. And yeah, that's why she has support from them, because again, they view the issue, you know, in this particular case, they kind of view it the same way even I do, where they're like, look, it doesn't really matter what her personal politics are. Like, is she going to be the right vote when it comes to a free and open internet? She is. So that's, you know, like, that's all that really matters. I mean, obviously I'm way closer to her politically than they are. I mean, you know, like, they're like way to her right. I am to her left, but not, you know, as much as they are to her right, I don't think. Maybe I am, who knows? But like, like to her left that much, I don't know. But yeah, it's not really relevant. And so, yeah, that's basic. And again, like, they hint on how popular net neutrality is. Like, I think it's 83%. I think it might be 86 now % of all Americans are for net neutrality. And usually when you hear somebody not for net neutrality, honestly, in my experience, it's either somebody who, you know, is part of the big cable lobby, so they just want net neutrality to go away so they can fudge your internet and make more money, or it's somebody who doesn't understand what net neutrality is, and they completely misrepresent what it is. Like, they're like, well, net neutrality lets the government take over the internet. No, it doesn't. Net neutrality designates the internet a utility in our lives, which means it has to flow the same way that running water does when it comes to internet traffic. So this show can't load any faster than a CNN video or a Fox News video. All internet traffic has to be treated equally. That's all net neutrality does. So you want your internet service provider to adhere by net neutrality rules, unless, of course, you don't want to be able to access certain websites.
Right. And I heard in here too yesterday, they were talking about like broadband in very small communities too, how they're being left in the dirt, which I totally feel for that. I'm definitely in an unincorporated area, and the lack of diversity when it comes to at least just the internet providers that we can get out here is ridiculous. Like, we can only get maybe 1 or 2 internet providers out of all of them. And if they're, you know, fixing a wire pole or a Wi-Fi pole, we're without internet for the entire day, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. It's like, we have allowed, and you know, and this gets into like, broadband's a separate issue from net neutrality. Like that's not what net neutrality is. But like, you know, we've allowed these big cable companies to basically form these organized duopolies all over the freaking country, and they don't give a hoot about your internet. They give a hoot about their profit. So if a place is too far remote and they don't think there's enough customer base that they're enough in the green, they just don't build there, and they don't give a hoot. Meanwhile, if we just would have built our own internet in our own communities, which is municipal broadband, which I'm a huge advocate for, we would be so much better off. Everywhere in the country that has municipal broadband, they get better internet at a better price. Like their internet is cheaper and it is better. If you want to learn more about what I'm talking about, Google Chattanooga, Tennessee. Google Chattanooga, Tennessee broadband, then Google the Institute of Local Self-Reliance. You'll find out how we've really shot ourselves in the foot when it comes to the internet in this country. And we should all have internet that is twice as fast, and we should be paying at most about $60 a month for it. So
I agree. All right, let's get on to the next part of this. All right, here we
President
go.
and his cowardly enablers would rather kill everybody than stop killing white people. Do you think a person, yes or no, who says that should be appointed to the FCC?
I would need to know more of the context, honestly.
Okay, well, I think clearly a person who said that should not be appointed to the FCC. And in fact, you retweeted the exact same thing, only with President Trump instead of President Obama, and the race is reversed. Let me read another tweet, and let me ask you if this is an acceptable thing for an FCC
This is just
commissioner.
high sugar fluff bullshit. This is so
Angry black woman, not a
This
good
is
look,
so
Judge
embarrassing.
Brown Jackson. Would a person who tweeted that pejoratively be
and this is why we don't
deserving of the position that you're seeking?
bullshit like this.
I think it has nothing to do with the position that they're seeking, so not necessarily.
So I think that's
I know I tweeted something about Judge Kavanaugh.
I think that's preposterous. Come on.
The
You
fact that
tweeted
it's
it,
going
Judge Kavanaugh,
on
angry white man, not a good
is
look,
so
Judge Kavanaugh. Now,
embarrassing.
here's why I think that it's relevant. We live in a country that's very diverse. People come from very different backgrounds. And one of the things that preserves what little racial comedy and harmony we have in this country is that our leaders don't use that racial comedy and harmony like a toddler who discovered their daddy's gun. You talk about racial issues in a way that will inflame the very worst things in our country. And I fear that if you're given this position of authority, you will use that authority to continue to inflame and to continue potentially even to censor based on some of these ideas. Now, I've just illustrated a couple of ways that we talk about these issues, or some of our leaders talk about these issues. I hope that I never do. And if I do, I hope my constituents will hold me to account for it. But one of the things that I fear here is that you're being appointed to a position with an incredible amount of control over the way that we communicate with each other, the way that we debate with each other, the way that our politics actually manifests itself in the public debate. And I guess I'd ask you, do you think those comments are a good thing for the American people to hear, given how much power you will have if you get confirmed?
Senator, I made those comments in my role as either a private citizen or a public advocate, and they will have absolutely no bearing on how I would act as an FCC commissioner.
So I appreciate that, but they reveal something about how you see the world, how you think about the world.
They're suggesting anyone who has remotely progressive views should not be able to hold a position like this. That's literally what they're doing right now.
A lot of power.
I really loved your part right there. You and her with the mixture of your passion and getting mad and realizing that has nothing to do with her job, and then her talking back, saying, literally repeating what you were just saying in there. I think that's perfect. How you were saying earlier, she wouldn't walk out, she fought back. It's awesome.
Yeah, she's a little more. I mean, with her position, you got to be a little more diplomatic than someone like me has to be. I mean, I think I was saying, am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this is bullshit. This is high sugar fluff bullshit. This is so embarrassing because it was. I mean, that was just JD Vance, just like grandstanding about stuff that she allegedly. They weren't even like her tweets. They were just stuff she allegedly retweeted about Donald Trump. Who the hell cares? How is this relevant at all? I mean, it has nothing to do with anything, and it's just. I mean, it was just like a distraction. Again, just high sugar fluff nonsense. And the fact that this was going on in an FCC hearing, I mean, it's not like she was like inciting violence in a tweet or something like that. Okay, that's a different story. I mean, if she was like breaking laws or something, okay, that's one thing. But this was nothing like that. I mean, I think at some point she liked a tweet that was like making fun of Fox News. So Gigi Sohn, as a private citizen, isn't a fan of Fox News. Neither is most of the country. Like, who the hell cares? So, yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean, he was almost even more insufferable than Ted Cruz, which is, I mean, hard to do. But yeah. It
was like he wasn't even listening, because right before that, she was talking about how all these right-wing conservative organizations were backing her up and saying that they want her to be a part of this. But then she has one tweet where she makes fun of Fox News, and they're like, that's it. She can't be an FCC.
Yeah, I mean, they've been grasping at these straws for a long time. And they, sorry, my cat was wanting to hang out here.
Hi, Lucy.
Aw, say hi, Lucy. But sometimes she jumps up straight up on the desk, and it like always knocks the mic cord out. Like I feel like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's like, get off. I want attention. But yeah. So they've just been using this for a long time. And the sad thing is it's still working. Like she still has not been appointed. Now, Biden did re-up her nomination. That's why she got a third hearing. He had to re-up her nomination in January. I actually didn't think he was going to do it, but he did. So that's a good thing. I mean, I'm at the point now where I just want a pro net neutrality appointee. Like, it should be Gigi Sohn. She deserves the gig, and she is beyond qualified. And it would be really, really freaking sad if she does not get it. But I just want the FCC to be able to go to work. They have Jessica Rosenworcel at the head, who is in favor of broadband. She is in favor of net neutrality. So that's another big thing here. Another big thing that they're trying to do here. They don't want a functioning FCC, because they know that a functioning FCC with someone like Jessica Rosenworcel at the head, they're actually going to do some things that benefit regular people. They're big tech donors, they're ISP donors. They don't want this. And it's not just Republicans, it's some Democrats holding out too. So they don't want to tick off their donors and have an FCC that's functioning for the people. When it's an FCC that's going to screw people over and make it better for, big business, they'll staff that FCC as quick as they can. But when it's kind of the opposite, they're going to drag their feet.
Right. Yep, I agree. All right, so we got 2 more little quick clips, and then we'll get on to the last one. I know you're running out of time, so here we go. We'll get this done for you.
2019, you tweeted, and I'm quoting the tweet, "Big tech companies are under enormous scrutiny while big telecom and cable and deregulated and consolidated. What's missing is the enormous amount of money big telecom and cable are spending to ensure that the focus stays on tech and not them. Even in your testimony that you submitted to us, you suggest that regulated entities are the ones making false and misleading attacks," and I'm quoting you there, "on your record because they fear you." Your choice of terms. So how can we believe you will be impartial if an issue involving any of these companies comes before you as a commissioner?
Yeah, first, I would say that every single industry player who I've criticized, I've also worked with. And not long before I got nominated, I worked closely with Verizon and Comcast and AT&T to get the emergency broadband benefit, to get a letter together to support the emergency broadband benefit. So I've worked with these companies. And as I said to Senator Vance, a proceeding at the FCC is constrained. You have to follow the record, decide based on the record, using the procedures outlined in the Administrative Procedure Act.
And yes, let me ask you about that and where you're going with that response. And I saw your response to Senator Vance. So if you're leaning into this component that your background, as you say in your testimony, your background as an advocate, your choice of words there, and you suggest that that is what makes you a good commissioner. That is going to help make you a good commissioner. If being an advocate is what positions you to do this job, then why should we think you would act differently in this job when you were a commissioner?
Well, because as a policy, I know that the role of a policymaker is different than the role of an advocate. And just let me also say, I really only asked to be treated like other nominees for the FCC. We've had nominees for the FCC, including my former boss, who worked for 2 industries, and he was a very, very fervent advocate for his industries. Chairman Pai worked for Verizon, and I'm sure he was a very fervent advocate for Verizon. So I'm just asking to be treated the same way, Senator.
Ooh, I got to give a snap for that. She's queen.
Well, you know what? Another quick aside here before we jump into it. I didn't notice this the first time I watched it, but did you notice like the one time her blur kind of went into focus? There was like a big handle of Jim Beam right next to her. Did you notice that?
I did not.
Yeah, I just noticed it. I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah, like there's this point where it like comes into focus and she had like a big handle of Jim Beam right next to her, like in her kitchen, I guess.
Y'all, no way.
Yeah, here, see if you can. I mean, hey,
my God.
No judgment, but it is kind of funny. I mean, it's like,
right, like you would.
I have whiskey in my kitchen too, so I'm not judging anybody else. But, yeah, maybe she's in an office. I don't know. That makes it funnier if she's in an office.
Yeah, because
it was like
in
next to her.
Right.
I don't know if
Like,
we'll be able to see it, but
I gotta meet with the FCC commissioner, or I got an FCC commission meeting today. I might as well just have that on screen.
Yeah,
that's smart.
Yeah, and I gotta tie a few on to do this. I'm gonna go like recite some propaganda. So I better. It's but yeah, no, she summed up because that's the thing. They're bringing up past lawsuits she was involved with in her work as an attorney doing her job. She was involved in like some copyright lawsuits and stuff like that. So they're saying, and she's already said, like, I would recuse myself if there's anything that would be compromising, blah, blah, blah. And what she said there made so much sense, because it's like, look, why are you holding me up to this scrutiny that you don't hold anyone else to? You know, like Ajit Pai was a cable lobbyist. Tom Wheeler was a cable lobbyist. Why was nobody complaining about those conflicts of interest? Those are way worse conflicts of interest than being a lawyer in like a public advocacy space. Way worse. Yet for some reason, Gigi Sohn is held to this unreasonable standard that no one else was held to, that Ajit Pai wasn't held to, that Tom Wheeler wasn't held to.
Mhm.
So, you know, kudos for her for shouting out. She's just like, look, I just want to be treated like everyone else.
Yeah, I give her super mad props for that. I saw that and I was like, yeah, that's the most professional way to say F you to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, I gotta say, her patience, I mean, she should be sainted for, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to hold my composure the way, and keep in mind, she's been through this 3 times. This is the 3rd time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't, I mean, you know, kudos
After
to
2
her.
years of waiting too.
After 2 years. Yeah, no,
Whew.
it's obscene.
Yep. All right, here's the last one. Oh, wait, I gotta turn the volume back up.
Improving internet access in rural areas keeps these smaller communities thriving. We need an FCC that's focused on bridging the digital divide in North Carolina and prioritizing the economic and educational benefits of better broadband. It's also concerning that law enforcement groups like the National Sheriff's Association and the Fraternal Order of Police oppose your nomination. You're listed as a board member of the Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF, and since your nomination, you've tried to minimize the significance of your board seat, but being a board member is no small thing. EFF has called you a close collaborator for nearly 20 years. You've donated to them and made public calls for others to donate to EFF. In a letter to this committee, the Fraternal Order of Police stated that you have an anti-police bias and refused to disavow many extreme positions from EFF. In the summer of 2020, as rioters burned businesses across the country, EFF encouraged folks to go to the streets, even publishing a memo on how to thwart law enforcement investigations, suggesting people buy a prepaid disposable phone and dress for anonymity. Chair, I'd like to submit this to the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. Now, the FCC and law enforcement, they work together a lot, as we know. And as you know, the FCC makes sure that law enforcement alerts are delivered over communications networks and that those.
So if you criticize the police, if you criticize politicians, if you support organizations who understand digital rights issues, you should not be allowed to serve on the FCC. You should not be allowed to serve on the FCC if you actually understand the issues you're going to be voting on. And if you have any remotely progressive views. That's what this guy's saying. That's what Ted Cruz has been saying. That's honestly, that's the American government for you, really. I mean, at the end of the day, let's call it what it is.
Statement referring to federal law enforcement officers responding to riots in 2020 as, quote, armed goons in riot gear with tear gas, end quote, as Senator Cruz mentioned in his opening remarks. Ms. Sohn, given your demonstrated.
The EFF does amazing work, and they're, you know, one of the top digital rights organizations out there.
Best interest, especially if you help lead an agency that's a critical partner of law enforcement. Yes or no? And just simply yes or no, please.
Could you repeat the question, because I kind of lost.
Yeah, the question's really based on your understanding of why law enforcement's concerned. I mean, do you understand why law enforcement has concern, yes or no?
No, I don't, actually.
You actually don't. Okay, so that's
No,
actually
I'm very
telling
surprised.
us. Thank you. I do want to reclaim my time here. So, I mean, it's obvious why they would be concerned with these tweets and retweets and the things that you would support. But Ms. Sohn, the EFF published a guide called Attending a Protest that tells people to wear a mask. It will protect you from being identified in photos of the protest. Ms. Sohn, does encouraging folks to hide their identity during violent situations make law enforcement's job easier? Yes or no, simply?
I don't consider protests necessarily violent, sir. Look, I don't make
Well, during
policy
violent
like that.
situations, as we saw in 2020, do you understand why law enforcement would have a concern?
What does
with
this
you
have to
suggesting that
do
people
with
enhance
her
their
appointment to
anonymity?
the
Yes or
FCC?
no?
I understand why people might not want to be surveilled. I understand that. But I had nothing to do with.
So I was hoping for a yes or no that you.
So more like what you were talking about, more of that fluff piece stuff where, you know, they're trying to blame her for things that has nothing to do with FCC.
Well, and it's also entrapment too. He's demanding, I mean, and this is something that you really see in our, you know, like excuses for political discussions. You're going to try to bait someone into giving a yes or no answer to something that's not a yes or no question because it's not framed fairly at all. You know, so it's also just an entrapment attempt there. EFF, like I said in the prior the prior video, grazie Holly. Like I said in the prior video, like EFF is one of the leading digital rights organizations in the country. They, like dissect these issues, they dive into these issues, they actually understand the policy, they see the nuances within it, and they inform people on it. EFF also, yeah, like if they are for protesters, that's totally fine. And just for the record, Gigi Sohn sitting on their board doesn't mean that she automatically embraces every stance they have or every single thing they do. It doesn't work that way. I mean, if she does, I certainly have no problem. But to just associate her with every single thing that they do, that's ridiculous. And again, this is another one of their just ridiculous point of association. We're going to try to pin this on her. It's absolutely ridiculous. So even if somebody is, not a fan of some of the stuff EFF has done, it's irrelevant. I mean, she's on the board. She's not a dictator. You know what I mean? So
Yep. Well, plus the fact that they were saying like her coming up with making these little documents about how to keep yourself safe during a protest is the cops are really worried about that because it's all
yeah.
violence. I'm pretty sure that you guys would not be saying those same things. Like these conservatives wouldn't say the same things for the truckers who were protesting during the mask mandates and all of that. They wouldn't call that violent, but because it's Black Lives Matter or something, then they're like automatically it's violence and you're helping people hide from the cops. I've written documents to help people stay safe during protests, and it's just
Yeah.
something you do to help people stay safe.
Well, something that we can say that she couldn't in that situation being a hearing is like, look, when it comes to a protest, the people who have to worry about violence aren't the frickin' cops, okay? They're not the ones who it's the people who have to worry about violence, not the frickin' cops. The cops
Yep.
are the one causing the violence. She can't say that. I can, you can, but she can't. So, she, as diplomatically as she could, said, look, I don't think that protests are necessarily violent, which it's so interesting. I mean, here's another kind of fun, bitter irony that only a system as ridiculous as the United States could produce. Like, isn't it interesting that they're condemning her for being friendly to protest while simultaneously saying they're worried she wouldn't follow free speech?
Right.
Isn't that interesting? Protesting is part of free speech, folks. You know that, right? So she hates free speech, but she's supporting protests, and those are both. Which one is it? You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the irony of a lot of the majority of Republicans and a lot of Democrats too, is that hypocrisy. They believe one thing without looking at the complete exact thing on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it is just ridiculous hypocrisy. And that's the thing. It's like this stuff gets shown on C-SPAN all the time. Most people don't watch it for the sake of their own freaking blood pressure. And it's like you see why, but this is what they do. This is what the people in power do. And it's just a freaking I mean, you can't even call it a parody at this point. That's not even fair to parody. It's just like, I mean, it's just a corporate clown show.
Yep, absolutely. And I agree with you, Robin Ryan. When you go into the digital age, your Fourth Amendment rights should go with you. Absolutely. All right. So we've got one more last thing is what is net neutrality? This is a website. It's called Battle for the, oh wait, did we? No, we haven't done this. Okay. Battleforthenet.com. Let me get you guys the link in the chat.
Yeah, this is basically the website where you can demand that they confirm Gigi Sohn. So please sign this immediately. Please, please, please tell your friends, tell your family. It takes less than 30 seconds to sign, and it goes straight to your representatives, and it demands that they confirm Gigi Sohn immediately. They have been dragging their feet on this for 2+ years. It's still going. They still haven't appointed her. They had this ridiculous circus hearing on Valentine's Day. It was a couple weeks ago. Still been a couple weeks. Still haven't done it. It's just been beyond absurd. Please sign this immediately. Demand that we have a fully functioning FCC so that they can get at least a year in as a fully functioning FCC, because they're going to try to drag this out until the next election. That's what they're going to try to do. So, I mean, it which would be historic. I mean, it would be historic to see an entire presidential cycle with a not fully staffed FCC. But it just goes into how much of a scam our federal government is, really. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to call it what it is. Like, this is a total scam because, Biden he has to keep a promise here with a pro net neutrality appointee, but he doesn't really want to. And there's plenty of right-wing smear merchants that, like, he's not doing anything about, that Chuck Schumer's not doing anything about. But here's the deal. If we're as loud as we can frickin' be, and if everybody needs to keep the promise that they gave because the spotlight's on them, we're going to get her through. She's going to get confirmed, and she's going to be on the FCC. So, please, folks, go to battleforthenet.com. It is up to us. We are the only people fighting. So please, battleforthenet.com.
Definitely. So as of right now, what do you think out of 0 to 100%? What do you think her chances are getting into it?
Oh, I think it's going to happen. I mean, it's just a matter of how soon. I mean, I'm pretty confident at this point. They can only drag it out so far. But if we're quiet, they'll be able to drag it out until the clock expires. If we're not quiet,
Right.
they won't be able to. So be loud, and we're going to get the victory here. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Remember that, audience. I remember back a couple years ago, they told us to get a Supreme Court justice. We had to wait until the new president came in. And when the new president came in, they got their Supreme Court justice. But then right before Biden came in, they made another Supreme Court justice through Trump's approval.
Oh, yeah.
Before all that. So, I mean, this is what they do. They do this stuff. So if we don't get loud and obnoxious with our representatives, they're probably, like you said, going to hold it back until the next president till they get somebody they want in there.
Thank you, Brandy, for signing. And yes, everyone, please, battleforthenet.com. If you have, I know some of you signed it already, which thank you so much for that. If you haven't, please sign it. And if you have, tell a friend, pass it on to a friend, pass it on to a family member. Please.
Yep. Keep an eye out for my Twitter today, you guys. Right after the show, I'm going to post both of these links up on 2 separate tweets. If you guys want me to tag you in it, I can definitely tag all of you in it. What do you got going on? Anything new coming up? Let's hear it.
I got some fun stuff happening tomorrow. Everybody, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Ron Placone. Tomorrow, I am dropping a pilot that I made called Loner. It's about a guy who's going through 2020. The first episode takes place March 23rd of 2020. So he's quarantining and he's wondering what this COVID thing is. And he has to deal with the knowledge that he could be a millionaire because his ex-girlfriend invented Zoom. And in our fantasy world, it's called Vroom. But yeah, she invented that. So he could be a millionaire right now had he invested in it. But he chose not to. So the first episode kind of, you learn a little bit more about him. You learn a little bit about this ex. Is there a possibility they might reunite? What's the story there? And he's kind of going through it all in his apartment with his cat. I play the guy. Yeah, so I'm dropping that tomorrow. And I'm really hoping I get to tell people the full story. I know how it ends already. But yeah, we're going to drop the first episode and hopefully we're going to be able to finish the series for everyone. So I'm real excited to release that. That's also kind of a precursor to the movie that I'm working on. I've been working on a movie for a while. We're finally moving on with like pre-production and then production. So that's all happening too. And I'm on the road. You can check me out. April 14th, I'm going to be doing another show in Los Angeles, working on my Edinburgh hour. May 12th, the third show in Los Angeles. You can get those tickets at ronplacone.com. June 16th, Madison. June 17th, Minneapolis. June 29th, Chicago, Illinois. And by the way, Midwest, there's an early bird special going on. If you get your tickets now, use the promo code Lucy at checkout. That's Lucy, my cat. Use the promo code Lucy at checkout for discounted tickets. So if you get your tickets early, you get discounted, you get a discount. So ronplacone.com for all those tickets. And if anyone here is international, I'm going to be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in August 16th through 27th. I'll be at 32 Below Little Cellar in Edinburgh, Scotland as part of the Fringe Festival. So, yeah, and there might be a few more Midwest dates that we're going to, we're working on confirming a few more things soon. But right now, Madison, Minneapolis, and Chicago are on sale now. You can get the early bird special with the promo code Lucy and ronplacone.com for all that. And I'm also Ron Placone on all the socials, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you. I just put your YouTube channel in the chat for everyone to get. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see your little pilot tomorrow. You guys go check him out. We are going to work on getting Ron Placone a SAG award by next year. Okay, you guys?
Ah, so kind of you. Thank you for that. I'll let you. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
My dream now is officially to see you on stage with Brendan Fraser.
All right, let's
that would
make
be
it
awesome.
happen. Let's make
Okay.
it happen. All right, deal.
All right. Bye. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
coming, Ron.
Thanks for having me. See you
Thank
later.
you. All right.
Peace.
Bye-bye. Raid. Oh, thanks, Nikki. You guys just missed it. We just had Ron Placone on. He was talking about Battle for the Net. We watched the FCC commissioner meeting, and then we also did some stuff about facial recognition. You guys just missed it, but thank you for the raid. Ron Placone was just on here. Go check him out at ronplacone.com. I know he's on YouTube at Ron Placone. All of his social medias are all Ron Placone. I know Twitter and Facebook definitely is Ron Placone on there. So go check him out. You saw you missed it. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys came. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. You check out the upload. Okay. Yes, thank you, Ron. All right. So what I have next, we got about 45 minutes before the show ends today, is now we're going to start getting into a little bit I guess more not serious, because that stuff too is serious, but kind of a little bit more depressing stuff, because you know me and my black heart, so I got to show a little bit of depressing stuff. So this right here, I've been watching this like for probably the past couple of weeks has been going on, is the tensions between Israelis and Palestinians out there. And how the media is perceiving it compared to what people are actually showing, what is going on Twitter. So I wanted to show the mainstream media's version of all of this first. Now, this was just released 19 hours ago. So let's just, when you listen to this, take this as like all the things that have been happening over the last 2 weeks and how the mainstream media is showing us or propagandizing us into how they want us to think. Oh, you're welcome, Robin.
American citizen was killed today in the West Bank. This follows an eruption of violence over the weekend.
He
When rare
is,
peace
Kate.
talks between Israeli and Palestinian officials in Jordan were overshadowed by attacks and riots back home, sparked by the shooting of 2 Israeli brothers near a Palestinian town. Israeli officials quickly dubbed that a terrorist attack, and hours later, riots broke out, almost a pogrom, really. Israeli settlers throwing rocks and setting houses in Palestinian neighborhoods ablaze. It was shocking and horrifying. At least 1 Palestinian was shot and killed. CNN's Hadass Gold is in Jerusalem with more on what Israeli officials call revenge attacks.
Benjamin Netanyahu is the most experienced prime minister in Israeli history, but he's facing unprecedented, multifaceted battles on nearly every front. Tensions and violence between Israelis and Palestinians at a 20-year high. On Sunday, the occupied West Bank burned. 2 Israeli brothers shot point blank, killed while sitting in traffic in what officials say was a terrorist attack. Then, in what's been deemed revenge attacks by Israeli settlers, a Palestinian man shot and killed. Houses and cars burned. Just hours after Israeli and Palestinian officials met in a summit in Jordan meant to calm tensions. A joint communique pledging to take steps to restore calm, seeking a just and lasting peace. Meanwhile, Netanyahu's far right-wing coalition partners seemingly dismissing the summit in Jordan.
The message is coming out.
Definitely,
Netanyahu
Brandy.
biographer Anshel Pfeffer says much of the controversy around Netanyahu is thanks to these governing partners.
I think this is the least Netanyahu has ever been in control as a prime minister. He's not,
Now it's kind of just
he's
starting
not
to get into a little bit of the politics of what's going on. Let me fast forward a
While
bit.
for 8 weeks in a row, tens of thousands of Israelis have been taking to the streets to protest against Netanyahu's planned massive judicial reform.
So the back and forth that's been going between the two, them saying that 1 Palestinian was shot, and then because they're calling Palestinians retaliatory and saying that Israelis retaliated back by shooting someone, and then Palestinians are killing 1 Israeli or 2 Israelis, things like that. And then they're also saying here on the mainstream news is that they're protesting against Netanyahu's judicial overhaul. So this is the 2
most
parts that I
sweeping
wanted
of
to pay
these changes
attention
would give the
to.
Israeli parliament power to overturn Supreme Court decisions. Many critics arguing it's part of a ploy to help Netanyahu out of his ongoing corruption trial, something he denies. And Netanyahu faces increasing international pressure from allies, notably the United States, which has criticized not only settlement expansion and some of Israel's actions in the occupied West Bank, but also a rare presidential incursion into internal Israeli politics. President Biden urging a consensus be reached on the judicial reforms.
We've never had this kind of differences between Jerusalem and Washington. It's always been over the Palestinian issue. It's been over the Iran issue. It's never been about the way the Israeli government is legislating on a democratic agenda.
Looming ahead in the calendar, the highly sensitive period of overlapping Muslim and Jewish holidays of Ramadan and Passover, threatening to set Jerusalem aflame as well. Yet another battlefront for Netanyahu, Israel's ultimate survivor for now.
Crazy, right? I mean, that's like, they just make it seem like it's just all politics. There's nothing going on. But then you go over to, I mean, it is still Al Jazeera, a little bit less mainstream, but this is Al Jazeera News talking about what actually happened. So when the Israeli soldiers, okay, so Palestinians, I guess, killed a couple or one or two Israelis, and so this is actually, which the news didn't tell us about, it just said they retaliated by doing a couple of things. This is actually what happened. This is what the Israelis did to the Palestinians right after that. They said that they set dozens of homes on fire and injured over 100 Palestinians just because they killed one person. So dozens of Palestinian homes were set. Right, Brandy. Right. Hours after a Palestinian gunman killed 2 Israelis in the West Bank.
قعدنا نزلنا على الأرض فبعديها صرنا نسمع صوت من ورا الدار بغرفتنا على الشبابيك رحت أفتح ولا هو في رصاص رحت سكت ونزلت على الأرض بعديها صاروا يكسروا بالشبابيك.
There's the aftermath.
מלחמה נפתחה בו ממש, ואני לא רואה פה שום ערבי יוצא ומיידה אבנים או עושה מה, הכל פה מת, חברים, מת. נראה שנמצאה התשובה לטרור.
This is something we've never seen before. Some were stabbed, some were shot at, some were beaten, and several homes were burned.
Yep.
Fires are still going on around the city, around the town, and inside it. It's a vicious fascist attack. The only way I can describe it is that this is the behavior of fascist gangs who are the Israeli settlers, protected and supported by the Israeli army. It is clear now that the settlers themselves are sitting in the most important positions in the Israeli government, including Smotrich, who's a settler who has become now in charge of the West Bank and the Israeli army here, as well as Ben Gvir, who has been classified before as a terrorist, and he is now the Minister of Internal Security in charge of police. So the fate of Palestinians are in the hands of illegal settlers. They're simply shooting.
Right, Robin. Correct. 100% correct. So see, while they were pledging to calm the surging violence, this is what Israelis were out there doing to Palestinians at the same time. So the government, the politics, like I was telling you, was showing the world like we're gonna calm the surge of violence. There's too much violence going around. While the news doesn't even cover the fact that they were doing this at the exact same time to Palestinians. Crazy, right? And then there's another one too I want to show you guys as well. This was from somebody on Twitter. His name is Ashok Sawain. He said thousands of Israelis gathered to protest in Tel Aviv against Israel's settlers' attack against Palestinian in Huawei West Bank. It is important for the moderate majority to stand up. So this is people out there protesting. So that's what they're actually out there protesting against, the violence of what is going on out there to the Palestinians. And so these people are even, I think I might have gotten the wrong one because this was a totally different one. I was really tired last night when I was doing this. I'm sorry, but there is another video out there and I really don't want to have to go looking for it right now. But there is another video out there of people in Israel fighting and protesting against what is going on, the violence against the Palestinians. I know it's got to be in here somewhere. It was in the trending section yesterday. It looks like some more new stuff has actually started to get trending, so it is gone. But there is people out in the Israel areas protesting against the violence that is occurring towards the Palestinians. So it shows that there are some good people out there. But as you know, like in America, the government never really agrees and does things that the citizens want. So it's definitely, you know, the same thing. But there also is some really major racist against Palestinians. I watched a video yesterday where one Israeli said that he would never be under Palestinian law, the Muslim law. So that, I think that was like one of their fears or something. They say that it's democratic to live in Israel because it's democracy and blah blah blah. But you know how that goes. There's a gent stateside I think folks should know more about in relation to these heinous developments. Yeah. Okay. Definitely. If you show me something, I will definitely look at it for sure. So yeah, that's what's been going on over there. Like I said, I think I found the wrong video for it, but you kind of get to see like what our mainstream news is saying. And what's really crazy too is like they'll call them the Israeli settlers, the settlers. So you're using the term of people moving from another place into a new place as if it's like okay, like it, you know, like they're using it like a good thing to get people to hear the word over and over again, the settler word, to make it seem like what they're doing is bad. I mean, obviously it's, you know, if you think about it, like America, you know, English settled in America, you know, they call us settlers too. So, you know, it technically colonizers. So that's pretty much what they actually are out there, is colonizers. So now let's get into some there's some police brutality. A state with religious laws is dangerous. That's a part of the thing that I do worry about, like the Muslim law. What is it? Like in Saudi Arabia, Sharia, like living under Sharia law definitely is definitely very terrifying, for sure. I definitely can agree with that part. Yeah, exactly. Settlers equal colonizers. It's just we're trying to like lighten and fluffen the word of people taking over other people's areas. And Lady does not like it at all. She said on the colonizers. She don't like colonizers, huh, Lady? Do you like colonizers? Yeah? No? No, huh? We don't like colonizers. She's so cute. Look at those ears. You guys look at her ears. They're like antennas. Okay. So the next one I have, yeah, displacers, absolutely. Israel passed a law saying most men have to leave homes, open carry from citizenry. That's what I heard recently too, is that Benjamin Netanyahu was going to make a new law where every citizen has the right to carry a firearm just to keep themselves safe. So yeah, but that's the problem with these like so-called democratic countries, is they don't do anything to benefit society. What they do is like, oh, you did something wrong, it's punished. You did something, or these other people did something wrong, we've got to punish them, instead of, you know, asking questions and reaching out and having empathy with other people. It's just, you know, it's constant, do something, punish, do something, punish. And it's just this ever spinning wheel of punishment, action, punishment, action, punishment. And it just never goes anywhere like that. There's never a break in that circle. So speaking of actions and punishment for no goddamn reason. So in Knoxville at Fort Sanders Regional Medical Center, there was a woman there, okay, by the name of Lisa Edwards. She insisted that she was sick, and so, but the hospital discharged her. She was sitting outside, as we can see at the beginning right here. She was sitting outside of the hospital. The police arrested her, joked about her pain as she died in the car, and there is no charges. So here is this is the woman down here. Right here at the bottom, I think probably with her granddaughter. The family is calling out the treatment of the mother who died in the Knoxville police custody. But here is the video of what happened to this woman. Now, like I said, I'm not going to be able to show like towards the end because I really don't want people to see, you know, like that kind of stuff. We'd have to do like a trigger warning or something like that. But I just want you guys to see the way that they treated her. I mean, just listen to the words that they say to her. Listen to the words that they say to each other. Listen about the inhaler, how they treated her when she was asking for the inhaler. The stuff, the way that she was asking for, you know, having mercy on her. Just, yeah. I know her and her granddaughter are absolutely adorable. It's so sad to see this happen.
I'm talking. I understand you say you got some problems going on. You're going to have to find a way to get out of here, okay? I don't want this to turn into a situation where you have to go to jail.
Shattered my ankle. I had a stroke.
Well, if the medical professionals have saw you and discharged you,
they won't.
I got nothing to do with that then, but you got to get going.
I can't even get down there.
So you're saying that you're going to go to jail. What's going to happen is you're going to have to roll this off the property.
It's the hospital's wheelchair.
Well, you're going to have to get up and figure out a way to get going.
I can't. Please don't do me this way. I don't want to go to jail.
Get up and move in there. 40 Bravo. You know the wagon sitting over there. Jail. Confirmed.
All right, young lady.
So just to start it off, so because she couldn't get up, she was really needing to go to the hospital. The hospital told her that there's nothing wrong with her, even though she knows that there's something wrong with her. I think this woman had like a stroke or something. And the cops are like, oh, well, since you don't want to leave, we're going to arrest you. This is what they do to people. I mean, just getting into like the feminism part of everything. I know that medical history was always based off of white men. So they always say that, you know, like women who actually have problems, hospitals send us home with, they're saying that there's nothing wrong with us all the time, knowing full well that there was something wrong with us. So just to show the discrimination in the medical business of women, and then how just because of that, her being discriminated against in the hospital, what the now judge, jury, and executioners decided that they wanted to do right afterwards to her.
Oh no!
I need you to step up.
I
Okay?
can't.
Yeah, you have to.
Pull me back. I can't. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're going to have to get up there because we're going to have to physically put you up there if not.
Oh my god. I can't. You're gonna break me.
Yes, ma'am. You're going to have to get in
My
there.
ankle.
Now you can already see here that she's already having problems breathing. I mean, she just said right there, I can't breathe. She's having a problem breathing. Nope.
You've been medically cleared, ma'am. This is not going to work. So we need you to help us. No, stop. Okay, it's not working. Okay, just stop. You've been medically cleared, so we know better.
Oh my god.
Walk.
Oh my god.
Get in the daggone.
Okay.
Oh my god. Jesus, Lord, Mary, goats. Now you're starting to piss me off. Get up.
Okay. Okay, give me a.
This is all an act. She has been discharged.
No,
Do you see how they're treating her? This is insane, right? Absolutely insane.
This is the Lord's. Listen to me. This is the Lord's day. All I want to do is give me some coffee and some oatmeal.
See, this is the Lord's day. All I want to do is get me some coffee. Like all they care about is themselves. They want to go out and get themselves a cup of coffee and a donut this morning instead of actually caring for a human being. Like they're more worried and more concerned about getting their donut that morning than a woman who's literally dying in their arms.
I'm not going to deal with your mess this morning. We've already spent too much time on you. You're going to get up here in this van and you're going to go to jail. We're done with you.
I'm going to pass out.
You're not going to pass out. We'll go and get in there and pass out. We'll be done with it. Because this is all an act. You're not going back in the hospital. We're not taking you back. You've been kicked out of 2 hospitals.
Please.
What do you need your purse for?
My inhaler.
It's not in there. We've already went no inhaler in your purse.
You guys can't do this to me.
See, she even calls for her inhaler. She knows where her inhaler, like she knows she has an inhaler, and they're saying that you don't have one. They're telling her that she didn't have one. They
Oh my God, good Lord.
When you know what's about to happen? You're about to get some more charges. That's what's about to happen.
Out of my head.
Well, the hospital already said they ain't taking you back. You got what?
I got you.
Don't you dare fucking throw yourself on the ground.
Oh my God.
You're not going to die.
My problem with me is that I know it's all an act.
she even says right there, I'm going to die. They said, you're not going to die. And then they said, it's all an act. It's all an act. Can you believe this?
We all know that.
Don't have an inhaler in your purse, ma'am.
This is your inhaler. The medicine is missing.
Get a stretcher.
Get a stretcher?
Yeah.
Why we need a stretcher?
I can't breathe. Oh my God.
You do not have an inhaler.
Hey, it's not
Right there.
Oh, all of a sudden they find an inhaler. All of a sudden, out of the fucking blue, they find an inhaler.
Please hurry.
Ma'am, you're not getting a stretcher.
Exactly, Tim.
Die.
The hospital discharged you. They said everything was fine with you.
No,
We found it.
He set me up.
You got yourself down.
Sure,
We set you up like 10 fucking times.
Just stay on the other side of the river. Uniform's all nasty from her. Want a cigarette?
You hear that? Okay, they were talking about how they're getting dirty from grabbing her. Like, how fucking rude can you get? You're worried about your donut. You're worried about your outfit that you're wearing. Like, this is not police activity. You should not be acting like this towards a woman. And then while she's saying she can't breathe and she needed an inhaler, he offered her a cigarette. Can you believe that? These cops, and like I said earlier, and like this says, no one has been charged.
No. Please set me up.
When you get out to jail, you better not pull this stunt because they don't play around out there.
Doctor. Oh my God.
She thought that was a doctor walking by, so she was calling for a doctor because she didn't. These police officers weren't doing anything for her, so she was out there begging, for anybody that was walking by, hoping it was a doctor, so that way she can get some more help.
Call me Dr.
Right, Brandy. Like your story like this has been so many that I've heard from other women. Absolutely. I mean, I've been told myself a couple of times that there was nothing wrong with me and I had been sent home and I knew that there was something wrong with me. So yeah, this happens so many times with hospitals, and I'm pretty sure it's not just us women. There's men and children that get done the same as well too. It's so crazy to see how many women get this brought upon them and then this happens right afterwards to this type of people. So you were watching part of this, but you didn't see this point. I can't go too much longer. I think once we get to they throw her in the back of the car, that's as long as I can get, because that's where she does pass away. I'll probably link put it towards the end a little bit, because the thing that I noticed too about this was these are all male police officers, but if you continue watching it towards the end, there was a female police officer too. Right, poverty, right? Look at that. He was just wanting to put a blanket over her so everybody can go out about their day. He was like, can't we just throw a blanket over her and forget about her today? Really? Why? So she can die out on the streets like we're some third world country that doesn't care about human beings?
She's already got a warrant on her now. Disorderly, impeding the sidewalk.
Right.
You got to get an extra charge for disorderly conduct. You about to get anything I can think of.
Impeding the sidewalk.
Yes, you about to get everything I can think of. There's no stretcher for you.
See, they're talking about giving her more charges, and she's like, I'm dying.
Yes, it is. I'm sick. Oh my God. You guys are gonna let me die. Please help me out. Sir, please. You're gonna kill me. Please. I beg you.
Stand up.
That was the part that really got me right there, was the beg you part. Man, this really is disheartening.
We know you can walk. Now stop.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh. Whoa. Okay.
So
Stop up.
You can set yourself up.
they told her to shut up. So she, see, it says around 20 minutes she was in the back of the car making really horrible sounds. About 20 minutes into the car, she goes quiet. He actually gets out of the car to check on her. Doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything. She's totally silent. He gets back into the car, continues driving to the police station. And then this is, I believe this is, come on, don't do this to me. we're gonna have that reload thing again like last week or yesterday. I mean, here, let me reload the page because it's gonna end up just doing this the whole time.
Oh my God.
Okay, so it goes quiet. He stops. He goes back into the car, drives to the to the thing. Oh, we don't get to see the end. Well, there is a video somewhere on the internet where they actually pull up at the police station. A female police officer says that you need to stop faking this. You know, if you're feeling better, you need to get up. She wasn't moving. Stuff like that too. So it just goes to show. I do believe as well, after they had put her into the vehicle. Hold on. It's going to do it again. I knew it. So after they had put her into the vehicle too. Hold on. They sprayed themselves with like disinfectant or something. Watch this. Play. Let me turn the volume up a little bit. Laughing. Oh, wait. Sorry.
Scoot back
Here we go.
towards me.
Hold me.
I'm sorry, I ain't doing
Okay. You guys
You're fine back there. Stop it.
take me
I ain't
off.
dealing with you today. You're fine.
Stop and pull me up. I can't breathe. Huh?
Oh, they didn't show it. Well, there was a little bit. Man, they're not like showing half of what I saw. Oh, there it is. So that guy right there, look, they've got like a Lysol spray and they're spraying themselves with like some kind of disinfectant right afterwards too, right after they had touched her and stuff. Just the way that they treated her, her treatment is just absolutely horrible. She did pass, which is extremely sad. Here's more on the tragic death of Lisa Edwards. Let's bring that up. Actually, I will bring that up so we can read a little bit about that. Sorry, you guys, bear with me a little bit. Here we go. So family of Lisa Edwards says Knoxville police negligent with no respect for human life. Absolutely correct. Let me bring it up and make it a little bit bigger. The family of the woman who died in police custody is speaking out after the body camera has been released. The family members of Lisa Edwards remember her as an independent, outgoing, caring, and great mother. Her son, Tim Boylan, said that no matter what, his mother was always put her sons first. He said, I can't believe she was treated this way. I just can't even wrap my head around it. I just want people to remember her as a loving, caring person, not what these guys made her out to be. The security guards were all saying all kinds of stuff that's not true about her. She did not deserve to be treated like that. Nobody does. The Knox County District's Attorney Office says that Edwards was on a flight on February 4th from Rhode Island to Knoxville when she began complaining of stomach pain, prompting her initial hospital visit. Lisa's family said she moved from Tennessee to Rhode Island around Christmas of 2018. While living in Rhode Island, she suffered her first stroke that left her physically disabled in 2019, but she was still mentally sound, according to her daughter-in-law. She was able to make her own decisions as far as wanting to move back to Tennessee. She had a plan in place. She was discharged from a nursing home that had helped arrange her flight to fly back to Tennessee. She was going to be living with a friend in Tennessee, she said. Edwards was taken by paramedics to the hospital after the flight, where she evaluated and discharged, according to the investigation. The district attorney's office said that she sought additional treatment at Fort Sanders, where she was observed overnight before she was released early the next morning. When Edwards refused to leave, security guards issued her a warning for disrupted behavior and trespassing, and then called Knoxville Police Department, who arrested her. See, this is what I was talking about. Actions and punishment, action and punishment. Just because this woman refused to leave the hospital because she knew that there was something wrong with her, they arrested her. This is what we do. That's the perpetual circular play out of the injustices and the violence that these police officers do instead of going out and helping society. No wonder people don't trust the police. And police wonder why. It's because we see stuff like this. So, good morning, Jim. Good to see you. Fire all of them now. Yeah, it's very gross how they treated her. After finding out about the investigation, the daughter-in-law questioned what could have happened for the officers to be placed on administrative leave and for an investigation to be launched. As a registered nurse and knowing her mother-in-law's health history, she also said she recognized that they did not have all the information. She said it's totally irrelevant of how she got to where she was that morning, but that whole situation that played out for an extended period of time is horrible, absolutely horrible. So the police officers may have not done anything intentionally criminal to cause anything happen to her. Oh, look at you, ads. But they definitely were negligent and had no respect for human life, any basic needs, anything. And see, we're talking about like that one guy that just got brutally murdered by the Scorpion unit, and all those police officers of color were arrested. To me, this is, and then these guys get absolutely nothing. It seems like to me, it's like they only want to arrest, like they're turning it into a racial thing, even in the police department. Like if you do something bad to somebody and you're a color or a cop of color, then we're going to arrest you. But if you're a white cop doing this to other people, then you're totally fine. No charges against. Like what happened to this big thing that just happened where all these police officers were arrested, but then this happens where it's negligent. This woman is literally begging for her life and nothing happens to these police officers. I feel like that whole situation a little bit ago where those police officers are fired was just kind of like a show of something that, hey, we're doing something, while they completely ignored the rest of the fact that everybody else, all the others police officers, are just getting away with whatever they want. So August, the stepdaughter said that she watched the police video with district attorney, but August Boylan explained that she was disgusted to the extent that she was sick to her stomach after watching the video. She said that as a nurse, she doesn't understand how somebody could fake things like it was claimed she was, such as the inability to use her left side and her muscle atrophy. So you don't have to be a medical professional to know the signs of a stroke are. And you can see that in her, start to finish. Her speech is completely changes from start to finish. And she's struggling to breathe. That is not something working themselves up like that, they said in there. That is not somebody faking it. She said it herself. She was dying, that she was having a stroke. If I treated somebody by the way they treated her, I'd be in jail right now, heading to prison. That's what her son said. Why are they not? He has no idea. Like I just said, is because police officers, I think that was just a show for us. How did I know you just woke up? Because it's morning for everyone around here now. The DA's office released that no charges were filed for the officers involved in the situation. However, Knoxville police said that an internal administrative investigation was going on for the 4 involved. An internal administrative investigation. So they're not going to find anything because this is not external. So you got to love our country and the lack of care for humanity that we have. So here's the woman. This is Lisa Edwards. Probably, most likely, I think that's with her granddaughter. So, oh, it's so sad to see her go like that and to see the neglect that the police officers have. So that's all I've got for today, you guys. Thank you all for coming. I really enjoyed having Ron Placone on. That was a lot of fun today. I don't really get to bring, too many people in very much because I'm really shy. So that was really cool of him to do it. I really appreciate Ron for coming in here and talking about that. You guys go check out those websites that we put up. I will be putting the rest of those websites up on my Twitter today. The ban facial recognition and the battleforthenet.com. So that way we can get some more people to help save net neutrality. As you all are watching YouTube and as I am content streaming on YouTube and other platforms, net neutrality is definitely something that we need to hold on to, at least in the internet sphere, hold on to with our dear lives, because it is something very, very important. Freedom of speech, no cancellations. I mean, look at all the people that are being banned and canceled all the time. You know, there's just a lot of things that, yes, Lisa Edwards, there's just a lot of things that this government does to us that doesn't benefit us. And I think that if we just continue even fighting, just at least in the smallest little bit, just get a little bit rowdy for something, then maybe we can try to start making changes somewhere. Like I posted a picture on my Twitter yesterday, and it really felt hard, or it hit hard on my heart yesterday. And it says that the people who love peace need to learn to organize as effectively as those who love war. And I think that is extremely true. Definitely hits my heart. And I feel like, you know, I'm one of a lot of people, you know, I'm one of those people that can't go out and do activism. I don't have a vehicle. I'm out in the boonies. I'm really far away from anything. I have kids that I've got to take care of. So seeing people out there, I appreciate them and I recognize them. And I feel like sometimes I'm not doing as much as I could, but something small like this, getting a hold of your representative, telling him to, you know, save net neutrality, things like that, where I can just sign up or sign something, definitely is where I feel like at least I can get something out there that I've done to help. So if you're one of those people who, you know, are in the same type of predicament that I am, but maybe in a different situations, then, you know, this is just something small that we can do to at least try to better ourselves, because nobody else is going to fight for us if we don't fight for ourselves. So that's something that you definitely, living in America, learn very quickly when you turn into a grown-up, is that nobody's going to be there for you, and you got to be there for yourself. And if this is something that you believe that we should have, because we've already had it forever, like Ron said, we've had net neutrality. They're just fighting against keeping it. They're wanting to end it. And I think that this is something that we can, you know, definitely strive to keep for, because there's nothing better than a free internet. It's definitely really, really hard. You know, we need to turn this into a public utility. Absolutely need to turn the internet into a public utility, because these private organizations owning these internet programs and making the rules for us and telling us what we can and can't do, it gets really, really hard. And I know by this June there's some more things that are going to be going on about the internet that is going to make it even worse. So if there's any time to fight, I would say last summer was a really good time to fight. No, I'm just kidding. Now is a good time to fight. Anytime is a good time to fight, but now is a really good a really good time. It's physically hard for me, yeah, but you went to a local anti-war protest, right? And that's really, there's a lot of us, it's really hard for us to go out and do things. So I feel like you signed that thing today, you know, there's your little sign of activism, you know, your little oomph of activism that you've done. You know, you can't let other people sit there and tell you, well, what are you out there doing? What are you, you know, doing to change the world? Because even just something simple like that, and then sharing it on Facebook to get other people to do it, it helps out immensely. Just like it helps out immensely when you like and share and subscribe to this show. That helps out immensely as well. So please hit that like button, you know? Get it? Man, I'm horrible at promoting myself. But thank you all for coming. I will be back tomorrow. I think Shane has another interview for me to do. I think at some point I'm going to be doing maybe Friday. I'm not sure. I don't know what date it's going to be. But coming up soon, I'm going to be interviewing Scott Desnoyers. He was part of the Red Berets. His son, some bad stuff happened to his son, and now he's fighting for Medicare for all. So we're going to be bringing him on. He's going to be having a rally soon. I think it's going to be like on the anniversary of his son's death date. So people are gathering around and helping out Scott Desnoyers. And I will be bringing him on maybe once or twice before his rally to interview him, talk about what's going on and all of that stuff. Brandy knows him, so I can't wait to have him on. I'm going to have, I'm not having Shane, but Shane is doing the grunt work for me. And so is Sherry now too. She's those two are going to be reaching out to people for interviews and stuff. So maybe I can start having some more people on. Like I was telling Ron this morning, thanking him for coming on because I'm way too shy. I really have a really bad big fear of hearing no from people. So I just don't do it. I don't reach out. So having Sherry and Shane helping me out with scheduling interviews is going to definitely help me out with my own anxiety problems. So I'm really thankful for Shane and Sherry for bringing them getting Ron on today, and then working on getting Scott Desnoyers on soon, and anybody else that we're working on. I really, truly appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing all of that. And thank you guys all for coming and supporting me as well. I've only been doing this show since October, and I am definitely out succeeding anything of any kind of expectations. And I really have to thank all of you guys. You guys are really, truly my friends. I really appreciate a lot of you. I know a lot of you in the comment section I actually talked to, and I have talked to outside of this show and, as a friend basis. So thanks for the support. You guys are absolutely, Brandy, Scott is a good guy. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I really, truly think of you guys as my friends. I know, like Warren was saying, the word fam and family gets thrown around like crazy, which it really does. So it kind of loses its oomph, So thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being there as a true, honest, supporting friends. You guys are absolutely amazing. I am going to get it back is where I'd say we are. Yeah. Code Pink has one coming up. Should be enough time to plan for it a lot. Okay. Yeah. Let me know about that. Maybe we can cover it on this side like we did the Rage Against the War Machine. I don't mind covering things. I think that was a lot of fun. Finding different coverages all over the internet and putting them onto one area. That way people can kind of not have to bounce around like I am doing. I do the bouncing around for all of you guys. So you guys have, the best of the best at with whoever is recording at that time. So yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, Jim, over on Facebook, I know you're there, or on Twitter, get a hold of me, let me know. And I will definitely, help stream a lot of that stuff. That would be a lot of fun. I love you too, Brandy, and I love you, Jim. Thank you all for coming. Nick still needs to be drop kicked for real. Definitely. I agree. Great anti-war protest. It's like going to work, you're not always going to like the people that are going to work that you go to work with you, but you still got to go to work and you still got to, make your money and, make the best of it while you're there. And so I think that was probably the best thing that we did, or they all did, for that Rage Against the War Machine event. Is, yes, of course, a lot of, there were a couple people that they didn't like that were there, but, other people were really great. They were absolutely awesome. I mean, I think Nick Branya just only hosted in between, calling each person on the stage. So technically he was just like the DJ. So it's not like he really said anything that's going to be like, yeah, let's go fight against the war. He was just the host. So yeah, I understand. It's just, like I said, it's just like going to work. You're not going to like everybody, just like they didn't like everybody that was there, but it was good to see them put that aside, at least not even talk to the people that they don't like, still trying to get that message out. That's the most important thing, is to get that message out, because ever since we had the Rage Against the War Machine rally, there have been multiple other ones that I've been seeing that are for it. You've got the For War rally that they had. And then I think just this weekend, they had the Ukraine, support Ukraine rally. So they're fighting against us, but it's good to know that we are on the right side of history no matter what. So it's crossed the threshold. Yepsies. Agreed. Still don't like Nick. Same. Thank you to Jimmy. I can do afternoons as mornings. Okay. Yeah. Do you do content creation? Are you a content creator? Now you're gonna make me go look you up. Absolutely. If you want to come on here, I think me and you are friends on Twitter. So if you would like to come on here, You are more than welcome to. I love having people on, so it's my favorite thing. Like I said, I'm just terrified of asking because I don't want to hear a no, because then I'm gonna be like, okay, you don't like me. So if you guys want to come on, please invite yourselves. I will absolutely say yes. Ed Heller, I know he is on his shows. I definitely want to bring him on over here as well too, because Ed is awesome. He can go on about pizza forever. And plus he's got that thing coming up with the Lori Lightfoot in Chicago Corner. They're gonna be on tonight. If you guys go check out Chicago Corner on YouTube, just type in the YouTube description or search engine Chicago Corner, you will see Ed and Jerry Vassalatos. They are going to be streaming tonight about Lori Lightfoot. There's a special election going on in Chicago for, I think it's mayor, because she's Mayor Lightfoot. So they're having a special election right now. Mayor Lightfoot possibly could not win, possibly could win. It's going to be really interesting to hear what they're doing with that. So I can't wait to see their show tonight. I will be taking clips of their show tonight and talking about it tomorrow. So I'm going to actually talk to Jerry today at some point, ask him when this election is actually going to happen, so that maybe I can bring on Jerry and Ed at the same time to talk about that. That would be awesome. So yeah. You can come on sometime too, Brandy. Yes, please come and support your show. You guys go check out Brandy and Dee. It is called Around the World with Brandy and Dee on YouTube. They have surpassed 1,000 subscribers, and they have been doing a show a lot shorter than me. And they started with a brand new YouTube channel and are already over 1,000 subscribers. They are killing it right now. Like, way killing it. And they do really good stuff. It's not just American news, it's news across the world. So you're actually getting to learn the injustices and everything that's going on in other countries, not just that whole Americanization thing. And I really, really appreciate that. She's found that niche in the YouTube algorithms that needs to be filled. And I'm super excited for both of them to be doing that. So you're trying to do Aquaria on this chan. Okay, Fingerman or Fingerman here. Okay, I will find you on Twitter. Fingerman. Oh, there it is, Fingerman. Look at you. Okay. Oh, I'm already following you. Perfect. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Definitely. Okay, so Fingerman, you've got a Ko-Fi. Okay, thank you for posting up the battleforthenet.com. Dang, dude, you're awesome. Okay, I'm already following you. I'm going to put notifications on all of your tweets. That way I know whenever you are tweeting, and I am super following you now. So awesome. I will get a hold of you if there's, look at you, you've got 420 followers. Like, tell nobody to follow you anymore. Like, just start rejecting everyone. Just so you can stay at 420, because that is awesome. I love that. Yeah, anytime if you want to come on, I'll get a hold of you and we'll talk about what days, if there's a date or a day that you would like to come on. I would love for you to come on. I'm more than welcome. Thank you so much. And I will find you over on are you on YouTube, Twitch, any of the content creator platforms? Because that would be awesome too. Absolutely, Brandy. Dee does awesome work on her show. Yeah, she does. March 2nd. Okay. Effective networking. It's from Unix. True story. Okay. Your mutuals. All right. Cool. I will get a hold of you guys to see if you all want to come on. I know you do. Just if I forget to get a hold of you, just throw me a tweet and be like, yo, you forgot about me, bitch. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I got your back, boo. So don't worry, I will get your back. And you can more than welcome to be on here. I would love that. That would be awesome. Thank you all for coming. I will see you all again tomorrow, and I will see all of you guys in the chat for Chicago Corner tonight, because Chicago is dealing with some stuff right now, some elections. Definitely want to get on that. So thank you all for coming. And I will see you all again tomorrow. I love you all. Bye.